Caitlin, and this is my found poem artist statement, and my found poem is entitled Trapped, and here it is for y'all to see. So, in my poem, I feel like there were a lot of things that I did a really good job executing. One of them, in my opinion, that I did a really good job executing with was the figurative language and the imagery, which kind of go hand in hand because oftentimes you can't have imagery without figurative language, but figurative language also creates kind of this sense of imagery. So I felt like I did really good with that, and I'll show you a little section that I felt like truly shows the essence of my poem. And this section is, I'm surrounded by bodies. These bodies are stuck in positions of terror. I'm surrounded by faces frozen in terror. I'm surrounded by murderers and murdered. I am back in solitude, yet the images have already been scorched into my mind. So, for figurative language, the images obviously weren't scorched into my person's mind, but because they were so traumatic and so at the front of their mind, it would just keep coming back and keep coming back, and no matter what you could see, you would always remember these images. And that's especially was meant to relate back to anyone who survived World War II, whether they were Romani, refugees, anyone who survived World War II would obviously have to go through these terrors daily, not because they were actually still happening, but because they were so ingrained to this person that it would just always be in the front of their mind. And so I feel like scorched was a very good word to use for that. But also, when talking about scorched, I was also talking about the primarily used way to execute Jewish people in that time was through burning them alive before gas rooms came along. And so I did want to do like a little hint at that and the murder of Jewish people, as well as for the people who survived in their PTSD. And then this piece I also feel like does a great job with imagery, because I personally can really see myself falling down somewhere and just not being able to forget this terrifying thing that just happened to me. And I feel like it was just such a powerful piece of imagery, and I was really proud of myself that I created it. And then for diction, I feel like diction was another thing I executed very well. Now, we of course were given the 30 words of diction from our class that was generated by our class, and obviously my favorite word of those was trapped, because oftentimes in Nazi Germany back in 1942, people felt very trapped. And so not only did Jewish people feel trapped because of the stigmatism put upon them and the stories and the Nazi propaganda put upon them and all the stereotypes that was kind of crushing them down, but also they were literally trapped, as in they were trapped in their, either if they were hiding, they were trapped oftentimes in the walls or in the attic, or they were literally trapped in concentration camps. So obviously Jewish people felt trapped, but I think so did Nazis feel trapped, because we were just coming out of the Great Depression, and therefore so was Germany. And the fact that this was the time when he took over was because he, being Hitler, was because people were desperate and needed someone to blame as well as someone to look up to. And so they felt very trapped because with the Great Depression just ending, they obviously didn't have means for their family to keep going and having a steady lifetime. So I feel like Hitler oftentimes offered things, for example, money or wealth after the war, or honor for his soldiers after the war, that definitely gave them the incentive to become trapped. And then once they were trapped, they obviously couldn't just say, oh, sorry, I'm done being a Nazi. So I felt like Nazi soldiers felt very trapped. And then one of the words that I personally, not created, but used in my poem that I felt was very important was alone. And alone, I feel like, was how so many people felt in Nazi Germany. Not only Jewish people felt alone because they were separated from their families, the people they loved, the people they knew their entire lives, but they were kind of all torn apart from one another and expected to turn on each other. But also many villagers or townspeople or citizens of Germany felt very alone and very scared. So trapped and alone were the two very important words I decided to use in my poem. And I hope that I conveyed figurative language, imagery, and diction well in my found poem titled Trapped. There it is. Thank you so much. Bye.